Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into my instant college football week 1 reaction. It's about 70 degrees out right now. I'm sweating. I'm wearing long sleeves out here sweating. It is 11 o'clock Eastern right now. Hopefully this video gets up by midnight. I'm going to go through all the ranked games, give my quick takes on them. All of the ranked games are over. There's some other games going on right now, but the main ones, all the ranked ones are over. So the first game I'm seeing, Texas A&M beating Sam Houston 31-0. And guys, I think the major takeaway here, Texas A&M is simply too young. They're overranked at number 6. I tweeted this earlier in the day. They had the weird weather delay for like 3 hours, but the quarterback, Haynes King, struggled. How much money is Texas A&M and their boosters going to drop on a top quarterback? They need one desperately. I know they got a 5-star true freshman. I don't think he's the real deal. We'll see what they end up doing, but Texas A&M is just simply too young. They're going to lose 3 games this year, in my opinion. Very mediocre performance against the FCS Sam Houston. Next, we've got Michigan over Colorado State 51-7. Guys, J.J. McCarthy is going to be Michigan's starting quarterback. I don't think there's any question about it. There's just too much to offer. The running, the throwing, the dual threat. J.J. McCarthy starting next week. The offense is so bland with Cade McNamara. I think Jim Harbaugh gave him the first start as kind of a courtesy for leading Michigan to the playoffs last year. But let's be honest, their running game really led them to the playoffs. So Michigan crushes Colorado State. Epically bad non-conference schedule. Colorado State's one of the worst teams in the FBS. They've got Hawaii, who's also one of the worst teams in FBS, and then they also have UConn. It is crazy bad, but Michigan, they've had good non-conference matchups before. We'll give them a little pass, whatever. Next, we've got NC State. Oh, my goodness. NC State, the preseason hype. They win by 1 point against East Carolina because East Carolina missed a PAT. And guys, NC State was leading this entire game, but it was a very even game. This is not a good sign for NC State moving forward. A little bit overhyped, a little bit. Offense sputtered. It was on the road. It's week 1. It's on the road. But I was expecting NC State to win this game by 3 touchdowns, take that preseason hype into the regular season. They didn't do it. They didn't do it at all. Next, we've got the 3:30 games. Georgia over Oregon, 49-3. You know, with this one, it's just too much talent for Georgia. It is what it is. That's all I can say about that. I have no other comment on this game. We've got Oklahoma over UTEP. Kind of a weird game where Oklahoma was up 21-0 with like 7 minutes left in the first quarter or something. And then their offense sputtered a little bit. They end up winning 45-13. It's a standard win against a bad team. I believe they were 31-point favorites, so they didn't cover the spread. Or did they cover? I think they barely covered the spread if they won by 32. Miami putting up a 70-burger on Bethune-Cookman, the FCS school. Very odd. Bethune-Cookman had like 350 yards of total offense, which is pretty crazy for an FCS school. Tyler Van Dyke, okay, he had 2 passing touchdowns, nothing special. Miami's going through the motions here. We'll see with them. But they do beat the FCS school, and they drop a 70-burger. Arkansas over Cincinnati. Very weird game for Ben Bryant, Cincinnati, the transfer quarterback. I thought he was terrible. Then I looked at his final stat line. It wasn't horrible. He had like 350 passing yards. This was a very evenly matched game. And there were times where I thought Cincinnati just straight up outplayed Arkansas. But Arkansas, they always did seem to be in the lead. And they end up winning by 1 touchdown. I think if Cincinnati has a little bit of a better quarterback, more experienced QB, they win this game on the road. It would have been a huge win. But again, Cincinnati losing everyone. Will they fall to unranked? I don't think they should. I think Cincinnati should still be ranked. But we will see. We've got Houston over UTSA. Very disappointing performance for Houston, in my opinion. I thought Houston was going to be a lot better than this. They do get the win. That kind of sham triple overtime with the 2-point conversions. We all hate that, but that's what happened, and they ended up winning. I thought it was going to be a blowout, but Houston did win. They are my pick to come out of the group of 5 teams and represent the group of 5 in a New Year's Six Bowl. We've got BYU crushing South Florida. One of the most impressive performances today. They were up 38-0, I think, over South Florida on the road. This BYU team is good. They're going to move inside the top 20 with this performance on the road. South Florida's not great, but it is a dominant performance on the road across country. USC beats Rice 66-14 in Lincoln Riley's debut. Pretty standard, nothing special. Caleb Williams, 2 touchdowns. Jordan Addison, 2 receiving touchdowns. It is what it is. I mean, I don't know what analysis you know people want from that. And then we had the huge night game. Tragically, Utah losing to Florida, and it's so unfortunate for Utah and the Pac-12. This game, it's going down to the wire. It's whoever has the ball last, and you thought Utah had the ball last, and Cam Rising throws an interception in the end zone on 2nd and goal with 22 seconds left. The unthinkable. They looked like they were going to score. They were going to walk off, get a huge road win in the SEC. Oh, I feel so bad for Utah. But what a great win for Florida. Anthony Richardson, the crazy play. You know, I think for the 2-point conversion he had 3 rushing touchdowns as well. He looks like a young star quarterback. We had Baylor beating Albany. I didn't even watch a snap of this game. I think it was on ESPN Plus. They were advertising it all day. Did you guys see they were advertising this game? Why? I guess because of the whole ESPN Plus thing. You're advertising Baylor versus Albany. It's a 42-point spread. I had no clue what they were doing. Wisconsin over Illinois State, 38-0. I think I had Wisconsin shutting out Illinois State in my prediction video, and it actually happened. There's no analysis that needs to be done on this game. We've got Kentucky over Miami of Ohio. What a weird spread this was. So the original spread of this game opened up Kentucky -18, and I was like, that's way too low. Then Chris Rodriguez, Kentucky's really good running back, gets suspended for the first game or whatever. The spread drops to 16, and I'm like, there's no way. But Kentucky ends up easily covering the spread. Even with Chris Rodriguez, they win by over 20 points. They wanted to make a statement, and they do just that. And then, guys, we had the huge, epic, it really wasn't an epic game. It was kind of a letdown. The Ohio State-Notre Dame game, very similar. Let me first compare it to the Georgia-Clemson game of last year. The defenses were ahead of the offenses. C.J. Stroud was off throughout the entire night. JSN gets injured on the first drive, and C.J. Stroud really didn't want to throw to anyone other than Emeka Egbuka. Really, really weird situation. Notre Dame playing perfect football throughout the first half, game control. But, you know, the Buckeyes this year proving it's not going to be Oregon 2.0. They're a different team. They play really good defense. They shut the young Notre Dame offense out, which is what you should do. And they were able to ground and pound the game to win. Big touchdown, Xavier Johnson. And then he had a great coverage on that kickoff return. What a game for him. Mayan Williams as well. Really didn't know why Trevion wasn't used very much. I'm guessing it's just game script and how it worked out. But yeah, I mean, there were some major problems for Ohio State's offense, and now you would have to think that JSN will be out at least the Arkansas State game, probably also the Toledo game. But guys, this is one of those games where the defenses are ahead of the offenses. C.J. Stroud missed Marvin Harrison a few times, including one time down the sideline where Harrison had a step. He missed Emeka Egbuka and threw it too late down the other sideline when Egbuka had a step in the end zone. There were plays to be made. And then how about that third down late in the first half? Egbuka should have sat down across the middle. It would have been probably a 1st and goal. And he keeps going. Stroud tries to bring him back. Incomplete, missed field goal. You go into the locker room down 10-7. You come out in the second half, 3 and out. So it was a bad scenario for Ohio State. It was another one of those games where early season game, it was a letdown. But the good news for Ohio State, it's not Oregon 2.0. And they end up winning it 21-10 against a top 5 team. I mean, we'll see what happens with Notre Dame. I would imagine they're not going to drop very far. I don't know how good Notre Dame is going to be personally. You can give them credit for keeping it close, but I think Ohio State just did not play well. They got the win at home, but to me, C.J. Stroud, that offense was rattled. They were not in rhythm at all. When JSN went out, it was like they didn't know what to do. And there were miscommunications left and right, and it got to this weird thing where Stroud only wanted to throw to Emeka Egbuka throughout the entire second and third quarter. Again, they righted the ship. Mayan Williams had the major drive. They iced it with the touchdown. Offensive line, really good job there. But overall, kind of a very odd game. The Buckeyes end up outgaining Notre Dame by about 140 yards. So, you'll take it. Ohio State does not cover the spread, the 17-point spread. That was definitely a lot of people were talking about that spread, and they did not cover it. And obviously the under hit here. So, I think the over-under was 59 in this game. So 21-10, the Buckeyes get it done. They will not be passing Alabama. They needed a blowout win to pass Alabama. They did not get that. So they will be ranked second in the AP poll. And then, of course, the final game to look at, the University of Alabama beats Utah State 55-0. I don't know. I didn't watch this game at all personally. So maybe people with the SEC network. I mean, I do have the SEC network. I think that's where this game was on. I know Bryce Young had a major rush because I saw he had 2 carries for 92 yards. He had 2 touchdowns. I saw that passing. Actually, he finished with 5 passing touchdowns, I think. But I cannot give any analysis on this game. I did not watch a single play of it, if we're being completely honest here. So I would just be talking out of my ass. So, guys, the major takeaways, I'm going to say BYU, the most impressive performance of all the ranked teams today. We had the major non-ranked matchups, the Appalachian State, North Carolina game, the Wyoming Tulsa. That will all be discussed tomorrow. But I just want to get this video out right here, right now. All of the biggest games. And I did miss one game, excuse me. Maybe I missed a few. So we had Ole Miss defeating Troy 28-10. And I had the over in this game. So that's just perfect. But quick thing on this game. Let me give you a quick factoid. Jackson Dart, not good. The transfer from USC, Lane Kiffin, new quarterback, really, really, really underwhelming. It's his first game. We'll see what happens. But you look at his stats overall, it was not a good performance. So we had Ole Miss defeating Troy. I think I got all of the games here, guys, at least all the ranked matchups. I want to make sure I hit on everything and just kind of get this video out. NC State narrowly loses. That would have been the upset of the week. Georgia crushes. Oregon, where does Oregon go from here? If you're Oregon, that's got to be so demoralizing. The whole thing was a sham. Guys, the fact that Georgia plays neutral site games in Atlanta, frickin' Georgia, what a sham that is. Why would you agree to that if you're Oregon? That is such a frickin' sham. Play the home and home. Don't do a neutral site game at the Mercedes-Benz Superdome, in Atlanta. That is a complete sham and a joke. And then I guess the other major story would be Ohio State. I'm sure most people are disappointed in Ohio State. I'll say the offense was rough. Michael Hall on the defense, if you guys want someone. Michael Hall, unbelievable game. Shout out to him. He had the sack at the end. Really, really good defensive performance from Ohio State. But you also have to factor in you're facing a first-time starting quarterback. The kid's talented, but it's a first-time starting quarterback. So all of this needs to be factored in. And we will see Ohio State with Arkansas State next week and then Toledo. So 2 easier games. I don't want to speculate on the JSN injury. I don't know what it is. He almost got decapitated on his first catch of the year. It looked like the season was cursed. But I thought it was kind of reckless. They tried to bring him back out there, and he was clearly limping. If he can't play, he can't play. So I don't know. But either way, they don't need him next week. That's for sure. My early prediction on the spread would be probably Ohio State minus 49 next week. I don't know what the final score of Arkansas State's game was. I know they were playing this week. I'll have to look at it. But I'd say Ohio State minus 49. That's a noon game against Arkansas State on Big Ten Network. But that is going to do it for the updates. We had some big Big football. The noon window I thought was really bad in terms of the ranked games. The 3:30 window, the Oregon game really flopped, and then the 7:30 window, shout out to the people that were watching Utah, Florida. That is the perfect non-conference week 1 back and forth game. Unfortunately, I'm sitting here watching Ohio State, Notre Dame. It's like picking teeth trying to watch Ohio State drive down the field. Just no big plays, very slow. So that was probably one of the better games, Utah versus Florida, and it is probably the saddest team has to be Utah. You're driving, you're in the swamp, it's hot, it's a hostile environment, Anthony Richardson hype, all the fans, and you have 2nd and goal to win the game. And even if it's an incompletion, you still have 2 more chances. It's 26-22. You have 2 more chances if you have an incompletion. The one thing you can't do is throw an interception. Oh my goodness. Literally the only thing. That is unfortunate for the University of Utah. And now it becomes a whole situation to where even if they win out because they're in the Pac-12, is it going to be enough for them to get in? Florida has the head-to-head over them. They're in the SEC. Now we get more of the SEC narrative coming to play. That's why I wanted Cincinnati to beat Arkansas. And they almost did. But guys, that is going to do it for this video. My instant reaction to week 1. Make sure you're following me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description.